What is a sociopathic smear campaign and how can you protect yourself? This information that you're learning today can save your life and your reputation. So, ignoring this information will one day backfire on you. We're going to talk about psychology, a topic about smear campaigns and narcissistic sociopaths. That's right, we're going to talk about this topic. So, give it a thumbs up. Anyways, the smear campaign is when a sociopath lies about you. You All right, let's start the article. It's bad enough that a sociopath lies to hook you, but they also lie about you, which is known as the smear campaign. Anything they tell you about themselves may be false. Their age, education, credentials, family details, income, criminal record, job, or work history, and of course, sociopaths typically lie about their relationships, history, and status. They claim to be single when they're married. Maybe they got married before, or they claim to be childless, which might be a father when they have many offsprings, even with multiple partners. Sociopaths lies. It's a key characteristics of the disorder. So when you fall for the lies, the smear campaign, right? You feel like a chump. But that's what often turns out to be even more devastating is the lies that they tell about you. That's right. So the smear campaign, sociopaths typically engage in a smear campaign about their targets. These are outright lies that they tell you to your family, your friends, your neighbors, your coworkers, others in your social circle. The sociopath objective with the smear campaign is to compromise your social support system and therefore increase his or her control over you. For this reason, the sociopath may start lying about you long before you suspect any problems in your relationship. For example, a sociopath may have a conversation like the following with your friend. Okay, this is not that important. I'll skip this part of the conversation. But long story short, you, of course, never cheated on the sociopath. The entire story is a complete fabrication. But when we look at what happens because of what the sociopath says. So in this story, right, Jane thinks that this person cheated on their partner, which lowers her opinions of you. Jane believes that you are keeping secrets from her, so you aren't much of a friend. The sociopath pretends to be wronged, which elicits sympathy from Jane. The sociopath enlists Jane as a potential informer. So for talking or taking you back after you supposedly cheated, the sociopath claims the moral high ground. So you can see that the sociopath is a very nasty person. And for them, they always will, try to manipulate others. So there's one person here. Thank you for being here. So, anyways, all of these dynamics may be very useful to the sociopath down the road when you split up or you find out your family and friends are supporting him rather than you. So, to understand more about the sociopaths, so I want to make sure more people shows up, you know. Let me keep reading and sentencing. The most common lies of a smear campaign. I've heard from many, many people that sociopaths have accused them of being crazy, psycho, or unbalanced, or needing therapy or needing medication. So I think the most prevalent lies sociopaths tell you are the statements that are undermining your mental stability. So what really dangerous about these statements is the manner in which they are said. Instead of ranting about you, often sociopath seems to be expressing concern. A sociopath will quietly say to your friends and family, I'm really worried about, John or something, or whoever. He really seems to be losing it, but he just won't go see a therapist, or they'll become they'll come across as so believable when they tell these lies about you. You, of course, you may be legitimately suffering from anxiety or depression because of emotional and psychological abuse by the sociopath, but due to the sociopath gaslighting, you might be questioning your very own sanity. Still, by questioning your mental ability and your family and friends, the sociopath weakens your standing and makes them less likely to support your decision. The sociopath, in the meantime, is seen as a concerned partner or someone who is looking out for your well being, which couldn't be further from the truth. So, how to combat lies and pick your battles? when you're dealing with a sociopath. There's not a lot of people here, unfortunately. I'll try to post this thread over here. Is there like nobody here or something? Or maybe the topic they don't care, or I'm not showing up on the notifications. But anyways, let's continue. How to combat the lies, pick your battle. Sometimes the sociopath smear campaign has been going on for so long and has been well orchestrated that you may find your entire family, social group, or community aligned against you. I've heard from many people who realize that everyone in their church believes the sociopath lies and not them. This is terribly distressing. Your reputation is shredded and you did nothing wrong. So how did you fight this? What can what did you do? Unfortunately, the sociopaths are such accomplished liars. So I'm not saying that happened to me. Hey, so thank you for being here. Give it a thumbs up. Yes. Um, I wish there's more people here. But unfortunately, the sociopaths are such accomplished liars that some people believe their stories no matter how much you protest. So here's what I suggest. Okay. So tools for navigating narcissists and other manipulative people. Figure out which people are really important to you and you need to know the truth. Do your best to tell them your side of the story. Show them proof that you have it. For everyone else, you're developing a shock response or a stock response, perhaps a shrug, and he likes to tell stories. You might find that you might need to walk away from some people and remove them from your life. So be it. So when you absolutely must fight the lies, there's one situation in which you must do to be the best to fight the lies when you are having a court case involving a sociopath, which may happen. Like all the evidence is collected and they don't have a response or a remorse. Sociopaths have absolutely no qualms about lying in court testimony or court documents. When the sociopath lies about you in court, you must object. Court proceedings are all about establishing a record because everything else said in court proceeding is supported to be truth. Sociopaths are assumed to be telling the truth no matter what they say. So when their statements are lies, you must counter them. If you fail to dispute the sociopath lies, they become part of the court's record. This can turn into a real problem later on with a much bigger repercussion than the smear campaign. You see how evil these sociopaths are? At first, they're like a Ouija board. They pretend to be nice to you without accounts. Then afterwards, they'll pretend to be your friends, but the walls will start shaking because you're haunted. And then afterwards, they go through a smear campaign. So if there's nobody here, right, I'm gonna keep making this video until people watch. I don't care how long. I don't care how long it takes. But yeah, you can see sociopaths are very nasty people. Maybe the title is not good. All right, let's continue. So another thing to fight is when you're accused of a crime that you did not do. You may be advised to plead guilty, especially if you can't afford a lawyer. This is generally a bad idea. A guilty plea means a criminal record, and a criminal record will cause you big problems later in life. So, three questions to help you respond to the smear campaign. Here's the bottom line: sociopaths lies about everything, so they are likely to lie about you. No one wants to be characterized falsely. I realize that you can choose how or even if you want to respond to the lies. Here are three questions to help you decide what to do. Does this particular lie damage my life? Does this person need to know the truth? Will responding to the lie keep me engaged with the sociopath? In situations where you can move on without combating lies of the smear campaign, that might be the best approach. Reserve your energy for taking actions on the matters that are vital to your life. So this was a post made long time ago about sociopaths. This is like the first time I've ever learned about a smear campaign because it's not like the first time I've ever been through one, but this is something that can protect you because knowledge is power. All right, let's read the next article. Um, okay, there's a long story here. I don't feel like reading everything, but okay. Um, well, we'll read it anyways. I was a stay-at-home mom until my son entered kindergarten and I got a job. And of any peace I will have for 10 years. The worst possible thing that happened to my husband, the woman he could make fun of being stupid or having no goals, whatever he would say to hurt my self-esteem, became a huge success. In fact, I made 3 times as much as Mr. Wonderful. The abuse escalated. He was so obsessed with destroying me that even on a business trip, everywhere I was getting an award for being the top sales rep in my company, he was pulling my boss aside and insinuating I was committing fraud, and that's why I was number 1. So you can see these people, these sociopaths are very, very nasty people. Okay? So for the last year of my marriage, I had convinced me to hand over all the extra money so he can invest in our future. I did it thinking it was his ego that was hurt from the success. I didn't know what he was then. He spent a year later hiding every dime, transferring every debt into my name, making up horrible stories about me to my friends and family. He would go to talk to them in tears and say I was stealing all of our money and cheating on him. You see that? When people tell lies like that, people get turned off automatically, which is ridiculous. This is a very horrible story. The fact that people can be turned off by a sociopath means these are very dangerous people. So it's insane, but trying to find caregivers that has been the Olympic of insanity for close to a year now. Anyhow, just one nightmare after another. She was just icing on the cake, or so I thought until the rest of the whole glory story proceeded to unfold. This is getting crazier. Okay. I get a feeling I was in the same deep, woke up in a crazy vow after my encounter with Spectart. I don't know what that means. It's been over 4 years now, and the situation imploded, and it's just been one thing after another. I kept thinking, it can't get any worse. Oh my god! So in case that anyone's dealing with a sociopath, they'll keep attacking and attacking and attacking. And when people are not showing up, they're getting turned off, right? That is like the sociopath, like that is their whole goal is to turn people off, even if it's a bunch of lies. So very interesting. I hired her sight unseen from another state. Basically, had to do long story. The first time I saw her, she did this weird look with her hair falling across her face. Very weird. I remember thinking, huh? What was that? Then like, what the fuck does it even mean? So basically, that's the story, right? So this woman replied, right? Hi, Dorothy. Heart wrenching to read your post. On his own, taking care of an elderly parent is not hard work, but it also takes a toll on your body. I'm so sorry to hear this sad news. Is this person a licensed? Okay, this is not a very useful post. Let's go to the next one. Okay, he spent. Okay, we read the wrong one. We read the wrong one. I'll get rid of that one. So he spent a year hiding every dime, transfer every debt into my name, making horrible stories about me and my friends and family. He would go and talk to them in tears and say I was stealing all the money. Yeah, so basically, the smear campaign. This woman was subjected to a smear campaign from her husband, the sociopath. Abusers often use this tactic to cover up their own behavior and convince others that they are the ones being victimized. In fact, abuser frequently starts the campaign as a preemptive strike long before the relationship with the true victim collapses. That's what happens to the woman who wrote this letter. Uh, as the sociopath was getting ready to move on, he probably had this next victim already lined up. He laid the groundwork to destroy his wife. With his tears and skills as a liar, he convinced this woman's friends and family of his story. They became unwittingly co-conspirators. So what can you do? Fighting the smear campaign is difficult. Most honest people can't imagine someone would be lying and making up outrageous charges that the sociopath claims. Have I ever experienced something like this? That are just pure lies? So they will believe the lies. When the true victim finds out what has been said, everyone else already turned against her. So On MSN Psychopath, a forum for victims, who has a page about smear campaigns with suggestions on how to handle it, for example, if anyone tries to talk to you about him, hold up your hands like a stop sign, say something like, I don't want to hear anything about him. He's lying. Say no more. If he continues to say, my lawyer recommends I warn people, they will have to testify where they heard that. Should this turn into a libel or slander lawsuit? Watch them scatter quickly when hearing this. This can cause people to stop code and have another look at where they've been told. Some more ideas, saying nothing but burst out with rain conscious laughter, slap your knees and laugh like crazy. You should have heard what he said about his ex-girlfriend, ex-wife, his sister. You get the idea. Your own preemptive actions. Once the relationship falls apart and you realize that you're dealing with a sociopath, okay? So then once you start hearing the lies, you may want to take your own preemptive action. Warn your family, friends, and workers and human resources department at your job that the sociopath may start saying terrible things about you. This may work if their perceptions haven't already been poisoned by the sociopath. You can see sociopaths are really awful people. They really don't have remorse, right? They don't have guilt, and they do stuff like this automatically when you're dealing with a real sociopath. So I'm not calling anyone in particular a sociopath. Was there any smear campaigns on me? Are people turned off that they don't want to show up? It may help for you to be able to explain why a person would say such terrible things. The reason, of course, is that the person is a sociopath. But as we all know, very few people understand what that means. To help others comprehend what you're dealing with, we send them a link to the site Love Fraud. Okay. So that's one way of informing people. So that's the article. Let's read the next article, smear campaigns and how to overcome them. So this is from Psychology Today. Smear campaigns involve manipulation, and let me make it bigger, and are often behavior of narcissists. So this one doesn't just say like sociopath. This one says narcissist. A smear campaign is planned effort to discredit a person or group or tarnish their reputation. Smear campaigns are a form of emotional abuse, and they take a tremendous psychological toll on the victim. There are ways a victim can cope so that they can heal and move forward with their lives. A smear campaign is a planned effort to discredit a person or group, to undermine their credibility and then tarnish their reputation. Those who launch smear campaigns go to great lengths to spread stories, lies, rumors, and gossip about their victims. Smear campaigns often associate with politics, although they're just a few features of political propaganda. They're also a tactic used by family members, colleagues, or romantic partners to poison the well. Basically, they're sociopaths, narcissistic sociopaths, but this one talks about narcissists. Smear campaigns may take place with a family unit, among friends or acquaintances, or in the workplace, or within a group or online community, which has been something that's been more common lately. So a smear campaign is basically a vendetta or act of retaliation. They are tools of those who can be characterized as vengeful or vindictive, controlling or obsessive. Such individuals are often insecure and emotionally immature. Smear campaigns involve manipulation, and they're often a behavior of a malignant narcissist and those with narcissistic personality disorder and antisocial personality disorder, which is formerly known as sociopath and psychopath. So give it a thumbs up if you're learning something. So what does a smear campaign look like? Individuals who run smear campaigns feel wronged and seek to punish those that they see as being at fault. If I ever got punished, I didn't do anything wrong. Everything they say is a lie, but it may not be about them. I'm just talking about this topic to educate people. They are abusers who paints the victim as the abuser because they see themselves as the victim. These people are incapable of taking responsibility, well, that's true, or accountability for their actions. They mount smear campaigns to control the narrative and often rewrite history. Smear campaigns amount to character assassination. That's right. The abuser has the intention of damaging a target's reputation, and they are successful and they'll feel like they won. They want to protect their own public perception and to make the victim appear to be the crazy one. To execute the smear campaign, the individual grooms other people over time. For example, they might go on online forum groups to falsely accuse about me, right? And keep writing false things about me. So, but anyways, like they say, this is the sociopath or antisocial personality disorder people that are narcissists. To execute a smear campaign, the individual grooms other people over time to function as allies or followers. Webb and Cohey, 2019. They do this by spreading false or exaggerated information about the target. Well, in my case, it's completely false. While they often share private, true information to aiming to turn others against the person. Those recruited by the abuser to actively participate in their manipulation becomes an entourage known as the flying monkeys. This term comes from the Wizard of Oz, in which the Wicked Witch of the West posed troops of winged monkeys under the spell to do their biddings. These smear tactics won't work on all who are approached. Often they only influence people who are easily manipulated. Those who side with the abusers are ultimately being abused themselves and are enabling more abuse. So, how to overcome a smear campaign? Okay. How to overcome this stuff. Smear campaigns are a form of emotional abuse and they will take tremendous psychological toll on the victim. These harmful attacks can cause considerable confusion, isolation, anxiety, helplessness, and anger. Smear campaigns spread false or misleading information, gaslighting a person about their expertise or experiences. By affecting a person's reputation, they also can cause untold professional damages and loss. Here are some advice for those who become targets of a smear campaign. For starters, don't retaliate because this can escalate the behavior. Stick to the facts, but overcome the urge to defend yourself and clear your name, which can result in more attacks. So it seems like the more I try to clear my name, the more it looks like I'm defending myself, the worse it is. It's like a shit test. But I'm not saying I'm in a smear campaign, but if I were in one, I probably should not defend myself. Next thing, overcome the urge to defend yourself and clear your name, which can result in more attacks. As noted, many of these perpetrators are narcissists. So tools that are designed to deal with narcissists apply to dealing with the smear campaign too. It helps to disengage from the person, refusing to engage with them in their power. Try not to worry about what others think. Over time, people will come to see the facts for themselves. Rise above the drama, focus on healing yourself and moving forward to rebuild your life. Also know that you are not alone. Smear campaigns are the most common than people realize. Despite the challenges, know that things will eventually get better. The most important thing is to protect your physical and mental health during a smear campaign. It could be useful to seek out a network of people who understand the situation and can offer emotional support. Finally, reach out to the mental health expert who can help you find ways to cope with this during the time. So this is from Psychology Today, an interesting article about smear campaigns. And let's go to the next article. All right. So this one's from Medium. So Medium is an article that's online talking about smear campaigns. I have not read all this stuff, so we're just randomly reading an article to understand smear campaigns. Let's see what they have to say on Medium. So overcoming a narcissistic smear campaign, a guide to protect your mental health. Your actions plan against narcissistic defamation. Okay. So let's make it bigger. In the wake of a toxic relationship, dealing with a smear campaign perpetuated by a narcissist ex-partner can be daunting as it is insidious. Such as an onslaught can take a toll on your mental and emotional well-being, even trickle into your professional and social sphere. The road to reclaiming your narrative in peace is riddled with complexities, but is vastly achievable with the right strategies. Here are 23 practical solutions to protect yourself and your reputation and ultimately move forward with the strength and dignity. Number one, seek support from trusted individuals. The first step is in navigating a smear campaign is shoring up your support system. Lean on family and friends who understand the dynamics of the abuse and can offer unconditional support. Social validation and empathy from your inner circle can counteract isolation in the narcissistic X may be trying to impose. Number two, document and preserve the evidence. That's what I've done. So let's see if there's more people here. Right? This is a great video. If you want, if you show up, I will show up more here on live. All right. So I'm just posting another one. So, as I was saying, document and preserve evidence. Consistent and throughout documentation is your armor. Keep records of any communications, confrontations, and public statements related to the smear campaign. If the situation escalates, these records can be crucial for taking legal action and setting the record straight. So, the chances are I don't want to like go through a legal action, but I may have no choice, unfortunately. So that's where I'm at. I may have no choice but to deal with this legally. Number three, set boundaries and maintain distance to shield yourself from further harm. This establish clear boundaries. This could involve limiting entirely cutting off contact with the narcissist. Remember, your first step is healing is to create a safe environment free from manipulation and psychological aggression. So number four, focus on self care and mental health. Committing to self care is non negotiable. Engage in activities that uplift you, practice relaxation techniques, and prioritize rest. Rebuilding your mental health by placing your well being at the forefront of your healing process. Number five, avoid engaging in public arguments. Maybe this is a mistake I made. Resist the urge to engage in public disputes or respond to provocations. Engaging in the smear campaign tactics reflect poorly on the victim. Trust the integrity of your character would speak volumes to those who knows you well. Number six, seek legal advice if necessary. Yeah, I'm already talking to a lawyer, but they don't care. They don't seem to have any remorse or guilt. If the situation escalates or affects your professional or personal life, seek legal counsel. Understanding your rights and options can provide clarity and a sense of control over the narrative being spun. Number seven, educate yourself on the narcissistic sociopath behavior. Knowledge is empowering. Educate yourself on the traits and patterns of the narcissistic sociopath behavior. This awareness can dissolve the mystique of the X projection, separating their dark world from your reality. Number eight, practice mindfulness and grounding techniques. Mindfulness practice and grounding techniques can anchor you into a present moment away from the negativity swirling around the smear campaign. These tools are especially effective in moments of heightened anxiety and stress. Number nine, surround yourself with positive influences. Actively seek out positive influences, whether through supportive groups, podcasts, or literature. Positive environments create fertile soil necessary for personal growth and resilience. Number 10, address false accusations with factual information. If you must address falsehoods, do do so with factual information. Stick to the truth and present evidence where possible, but do not feel compelled to engage with every twisted details of narrative. Looks like I might have to do that. I may have to show all the screenshots. Otherwise, people will not listen to me. 11, consider professional therapy or counseling. Professional therapy can be transformational for survivors of sociopathic narcissistic abuse. A skilled therapist provides a safe space for introspection and can equip you with coping strategies to address aftermath of the smear campaign. Number 12, stay true to your authentic self. Stand your ground and remain true to your authentic self. Remembering your own values and that you're beyond the distorted reflections that the narcissistic aims to project is a powerful form of resistance. Engage in activities that will bring you joy. Number 13, joy can be revolutionary in the face of adversity. Invest time in activities that you love, that you connect with your passions. Celebrate the pursuit of happiness, and it'll reverberate in your face of the smear campaign. Number four, create a support network. Expand your support network by forging connections with others who have endured similar experiences. There are strength in numbers, and there are countless individuals and groups who are eager to share their knowledge and encouragement. See here. So, okay. Wait, just I understand. All right, let's continue. So, yeah, this is a very corrupt. Like sometimes you have like when you deal with smear campaign, right? You deal with very corrupt things. Let me continue. Number 5, 15, prioritize your well-being. In a daily skirmish against the effects of a smear campaign, prioritize your well-being above all else. Make choices that nourish your body, mind, and spirit, and never apologize for doing so. Number 6, teen, practice assertiveness and self-defense. Okay, so basically, this is like a lot of different ideas, and it's gonna be so many, right? But let's just move on from there. Okay. So here's another article. This one's by called Mind Psychiatrist. Mind you, I have never read these articles. I just basically found them and I'm just reading them out loud because you can learn a lot about a smear campaign. So dealing with a narcissistic sociopath smear campaign, strategies and protection and recovery by Jack Hansen, August 28th, 2024. All right, let's see what Jack has to say about a smear campaign. So ever felt that you're constantly walking on eggshells around someone who always seems to have a hidden agenda? Picture this: you're being falsely accused, your reputation tarnished, and your relationship strained, all orchestrated by a manipulative narcissist. Sound familiar? You might be caught in the web of narcissistic smear campaign. So, in this article, you'll discover practical strategies to navigate the treacherous waters of a narcissistic smear campaign. From understanding the tactics to safeguarding your mental well being, you'll gain valuable insights on how to protect yourself from their destructive behavior. Ready to reclaim your power and shield yourself from toxic influence? Let's go in and arm yourself with tools needed to combat a sociopathic narcissist smear campaign. Key takeaways: understand the tactics and motivations behind a narcissistic smear campaign and protect yourself effectively. Strategic silence can be a powerful tool disarming a narcissist smear campaign. Building a support system of trusted individuals can help you cope with emotional turmoil caused by a smear campaign. Documenting instances and keeping records can serve as a valuable evidence if legal intervention becomes necessary, which it might be. Prioritize self care and protect your mental and emotional well-being amidst narcissist smear campaign. Recognize signs of smear campaign, such as sudden shifts in perception, consistent targeting, and gaslighting tactics to take proactive steps in safeguarding yourself. Understanding narcissistic smear campaigns. Navigating a narcissistic sociopathic smear campaign can be overwhelming and emotionally draining. Recognizing the tactics used in these situations is crucial to effectively dealing with them. By understanding how narcissists operate, you can better protect yourself and mitigate the impact of their harmful behavior. Here are some key insights into a narcissistic smear campaign. Detecting manipulative behavior. Recognizing the signs of a narcissist smear campaign is the first step in safeguarding yourself. Pay attention to sudden shifts in other attitudes towards your unexplained rumors and gossip and the pattern of false accusations. It's essential to trust your instincts and observe any consistent efforts to tarnish your reputation. Okay? Unveiling the narcissistic's intentions. Understand the motives behind the smear campaign can provide clarity. Narcissists often engage in such behavior to maintain control, manipulate perception, or seek revenge. That's the word, revenge. So by grasping their underlying reasons, you can depersonalize their actions and avoid internalizing a false narrative they create. See how many people viewed this thread. In case nobody sees this one, I'm going to come back tomorrow and I'm actually going to make another video exactly the same as this one. But if there's enough views for today, that would be great. So, responding with strategic silence. Resist the urge to engage directly with a narcissist or defend yourself against every false claim. Strategic silence can be a powerful tool in disarming their tactic. Refrain from participating in their drama. Any response may fuel behavior and prolonging the smear campaign. Build a support system. Seeking support from trusted friends, family members, or a therapist can help you cope with the emotional turmoil caused by a narcissistic smear campaign. Surround yourself with individuals who validate your experiences, provide perspective, and offer emotional comfort during challenging times. Okay, the next one says documenting the incidents. So it's very important that you document all these instances. For example, keeping a record of the narcissist's actions, including a written communication, date, and witness, can serve as a valuable evidence if legal intervention becomes necessary. Documentation not only helps you stay organized, but also reinforces your credibility in the face of accusations. Prioritize self-care. Amidst the chaos of a smear campaign, prioritize your mental and emotional well-being. Engage in activities that bring you joy, practice self-care, and establish healthy boundaries to protect yourself from further harm. Remember that your peace of mind is paramount. By understanding the dynamics of a narcissistic smear campaign and implement proactive strategies, you reclaim your power and preserve your reputation and navigate through these challenging circumstances with resilience. Stay vigilant, prioritize self care, and remember that you are not alone in this difficult situation. As it says, recognize the signs of a smear campaign. To protect yourself from a sociopathic narcissist smear campaign, it is crucial to be vigilant and identify the telltale signs of their manipulative behavior. Here are some indicators that can help you recognize when you're facing a smear campaign. Identifying malicious intent. When you notice how people perceive you and false rumors or negative stories start to circulate about you, it's likely a narcissist is orchestrating a smear campaign. They might point you in a negative light to undermine your reputation and credibility. Noticing a convert manipulation. A narcissist engage in convert manipulation by spreading lies, half truths, or distorted information behind your back. They may enlist flying monkeys, individuals who support their agendas, to further disseminate falsehoods and tarnish your image. Observe consistent targeting. If you find yourself consistently targeted with baseless accusations and derogatory remarks from multiple sources, it's a red flag of a smear campaign. Narcissists of often targets your vulnerabilities and areas of strengths to provoke an emotional reaction to damage your standing. Monitoring gaslight tactics. Gaslighting is a common strategy employed by narcissists during a smear campaign. They might attempt to make you doubt your reality, memory, or perceptions to discredit your responses, their manipulative actions. Recognize isolated efforts. As part of a smear campaign, narcissists may try to isolate you from your support system by sowing seeds of doubt or creating rifts in your relationship. This isolation can make you more vulnerable on their toxic influence. Being aware of the signs that you can't take proactive steps to you can take active steps to protect yourself against a narcissistic sociopath smear campaign and to safeguard your mental well-being. Remember, staying informed and trusting your instincts is crucial for dealing with these challenging situations. All right, strategies to counteract a narcissistic sociopath smear campaign. Okay, so basically, recognize a narcissistic smear campaign is essential to protecting yourself effectively. Here are practical strategies to help you counteract such manipulative tactics. Number one, stay grounded in reality. Remind yourself that a narcissistic sociopath smear campaign isn't a reflection of your true character. Focus on your strengths and positive qualities to maintain self assurance. Document everything. Keep records of any interactions, messages, and incidents incidents involving the smear campaign. Having documentation can support your case if it needed to arise to address false accusations. Seek support from trusted individuals. Reach out to friends, families, or therapists who understands the situation. Surround yourself with supportive network that can offer guidance and reassurance. Next, set boundaries. Establish clear boundaries within the sorry, the narcissistic sociopath to minimize further manipulation. Avoid engaging in arguments or responding to provocations that fuel the smear campaign. Maintaining composure. This is a very long article. So this is from a site called Mind Psychiatrist. Remain calm and composed when faced with false allegations or gossip. Reacting emotionally may validate the narcissist tactic and escalate the situation. Consider legal options. If the smear campaign affects your reputation or livelihood, consult a legal professional to explore potential legal recourse. Defending your rights may be the necessary in severe cases. So in this case, right, if I am going through a smear campaign, I'm not sure if I am, but if I am, legal action may be necessary. Focus on self-care. So a lot of this stuff, right, it sounds very similar to the other articles. This one goes on for a long time. Focus on self-care. Prioritize self-care practices such as meditation, exercise, and engaging in hobbies to reduce stress and maintain emotional well-being amid the challenging circumstances. Disengage when necessary. Recognize it's best to disengage from the narcissistic sociopath in the smear campaign. Your peace of mind is paramount, and disassociating yourself from toxic influences is a valid choice. And this one, which is I'm doing right now, educate others. If appropriate, inform mutual contacts or relevant parties about a smear campaign tactfully. Clarifying misinformation, productivity can prevent the false narratives. Seek professional help, right? Taking legal action against smear campaigns. Yeah, basically, This one has a lot of this similar kind of stuff, right? Let's read the next article. This one's called Judge Anthony. Okay. So I'm not sure who this guy is, but I saw an article. I'm going to read it. One of the first signs that you're being targeted by a smear campaign is a sudden change in others' attitude towards you, right? And is that happening to me right now, where people just don't show up? Accompanied by the spread of false information. You may notice that your friends and colleagues start to distance themselves, leading to feelings of isolation. This can be particularly painful when trusted individuals believe the lies being spread about you. Trust me, whatever lies being spread about me, if there was, none of it is true. So, like, literally, you can see the community section, it'll debunk everything. It'll debunk everything. So, which may elicit sympathy from those who felt unaware of the truth. Another common sign is gaslighting, where the narcissist manipulates you into questioning your own reality, making it harder for you to fight back. Friends and family members may act distant, cold, or even hostile, further complicating your situation. Relatives and family friends might side with the narcissist due to pre-existing biases, making it even more challenging to find support in a narcissistic relationship. While it can be disheartening, it is important to focus on those who are genuinely interested in the truth and can see through the manipulation. Staying true to yourself is crucial for maintaining your self-worth and not giving the narcissist the satisfaction of seeing you crumble. As time passes, individuals who think independently, which is like not sheeps, right? The worst sheeps, will begin to notice the manipulation. They will eventually uncover the truth. So, strategies to protect your reputation. Resilience and strategic thinking are vital for safeguarding your reputation against a smear campaign. The first step is to remain calm and composed during interactions with the narcissist, as this can prevent further escalation. Effective communication involves maintaining calmness and clarity, which helps to focus on facts rather than emotions. Building a strong support network is equally important, as it counters isolation and provides a genuine support and validation of your experience. Focus on those who remain supportive. Even when some relationships have been damaged by the smear campaign, staying in contact with supportive friends and family can provide you the necessary guidance and emotional support. If you find yourself struggling, it's essential to seek support. Now, let's dive into specific strategies to protect your own reputation. Stay calm and avoid emotional reaction. Social rejection, so due to a smear campaign, can activate brain regions similar to triggered by a physical pain, leading to a feeling that's often overwhelming. Therefore, managing your reaction is crucial for protecting your well being. Staying calm and avoiding emotional reactions is essential to maintaining your reputation and mental health. Responding calmly, factually to smear campaigns claims helps you avoid appearing defensive and keeps you on the focus on the truth. One practical tip is to practice deep breathing exercises to regain control over your emotions. This can prevent emotional escalation and help you stay composed. Disengaging emotionally is vital to avoid further conflict and not fuel the narcissist's attention seeking behavior. Remember, engaging with a narcissistic sociopathic person can worsen the situation and give them more ammunition to use against you. By staying calm, you can escalate and avoid escalation and keep focus on the facts rather than emotions. This approach not only protects your reputation, but preserves your emotional well being, allowing you to deal with the situation more effectively. This one says document everything. Keeping detailed records of documentations, interactions, and communications is crucial during a smear campaign. Recording every interaction can be instrumental in countering false claims and settling the record straight. This documentation can be particularly useful if you decide to take legal action, as it provides concrete evidence supporting your case. Whether it's emails, text messages, or social media interactions, ensure you have a comprehensive record of all communications. This not only helps you in defending yourself, but also provide clarity on the sequence of events, making it easier to counter false narratives and lies. Document matters and can be your strongest ally in proving the truth. Set clear boundaries. Establish strong boundaries is essential to maintaining your emotional well being in the face of a smear campaign. Clear boundaries help protect you from psychological harm. But yeah, it's starting to sound very similar to each other, right? Communicate effectively during a smear campaign. Effective communications is crucial while navigating a complexity of a smear campaign. Avoiding engagements with a narcissist is essential to prevent further manipulation and escalation of the smear campaign. Maintaining awareness and clear your boundaries in your communications can significantly impact your ability to protect your reputation and emotional well being. Two key aspects of effective communications during a smear campaign are choosing your words wisely and limiting engagements with the narcissist. By focusing on these areas, you can minimize narcissistic ability to use words against you and reduce their opportunities to manipulate. So it almost sounds very similar, even though it has all these tips, right? It's almost like you have to just take the smear campaign and just get therapy. But anyways, that's from Judge Anthony. And let's see who is he? A narcissist in court. Okay, he's a retired judge, family law. I may hire him. Let me subscribe to him. I'll bookmark him. I might hire him as a lawyer. Okay, so that's another article. So far, only 9 views. Yeah, so it seems like the sociopath had gotten me good, right? If they had gotten me so good, people are turned off, right? But let's educate more people about um, narcissistic, narcissist, sociopath, smear campaign. That was on Bing. Let's look on Google. So on Psych Central. Okay, so this is on Psych Central. 11 manipulative ways narcissists, sociopaths, and psychopaths sabotage their victims. Part one, written by Sanhida Iribi with an MA. Narcissistic narcissists, sociopaths, and psychopaths can inflict long-lasting damage on their victims. Their emotional and verbal abuse, combined with their cruel, persistent attempts at sabotage, which I may or may not be experiencing, can even drive the victims to self-destruction and suicide. For parts of this series, there are 5 ways that covert saboteurs can infiltrate your life and attempt to destroy it. Number one, the smear campaign, which is what we're talking about for this topic. So, covert predators like these spread falsehood to slander your reputation, to smear your credibility to others. This is a form of gaslight, what a sociopath gaslight, intended to manage your image to the public eye to ensure that no one will believe you were being abused. The abuser works overtime to paint you as the abuser in order to escape accountability for his or her actions. At the root of all smear campaigns is character assassination. Malignant narcissist preemptively strikes with personal attacks in an attempt to unsettle you and smear your good name because they are pathological envious or threatened. They are envious because of all the late testimonials. Smear campaigns can also be launched in contexts outside of romantic relationships. They can circulate in the workplace, in friendship circles, though the media and through the media, as well as extended families. It's not uncommon, for example, for a pathological, envious sociopath coworker to feed misinformation about their hardworking colleagues to their bosses in order to eliminate them as a threat when climbing the corporate ladder. When narcissistic sociopaths infiltrate the higher ranks of authority, they have the potential to cause even more devastation by sabotaging those they perceive as competition. As Joe Navarro, former FBI profiler, wrote in the book Dangerous Personalities, narcissists can reach high levels in high power or high trust professionals where the transgression and abuses of authority can have devastating consequences. When you have a police officer who lies, cheats, and steals, a health professional who believes himself the arbiter of lives, who lives or dies, a coach who sexually abuses trusting children, it says over here, the potential to do damage increases exponentially. Smear campaigns can be launched by telling blatant lies about the victim, spreading rumors or suggestions, which calls in doubt the sanity of the victim with the air of false concern, even concocting false evidence to isolate the victim from outside support. I mean, if I ever been through a smear campaign, I can say that everything is completely 1000% false. So, okay, let's just see if I can. 2 people watching, right? Are you guys learning something? Well, looks like the. All right. As I was saying, a survivor, Molly, shared with me her harrowing story of how a narcissistic partner tried to stage his own death to frame her and spread lies about her sanity. She writes, he held a gun to his head and said that he'll kill himself. make it look like a murder to ensure I was blamed if I didn't shoot myself after. He tell his family and our close friends that we had true love, yet behind our back tells them I was crazy and suicidal, as his article says, and was doing his best he could help me. I could never been the S word, and this caused my closest friends and family to lose all faith in me and totally secluded me from the outside world. Do you see that? There's like a seclusion that happens when these narcissistic sociopaths shows up and do their stuff. And since there's only like 9 views, they've probably done such a good job of smearing my name. It's just 1 hour and 1 minute of watch time. I'm very disappointed in people. I'm very, very disappointed that there are people like you that fell for it. Anyways, let's continue the article. He limited me to 1 meal daytime nursing our newborn. Okay, so tips when you're facing with a smear campaign. If you're being met with any kind of smear campaign, stick to the facts. As difficult as may be, try not to become emotionally responsive in public. Narcissists will use your emotional reactions against you to further depict you as the crazy one. Present only the facts. If you are met with unwarranted accusations, focus on any legal consequences you can take against a narcissist with a smear campaign. Carefully document evidence of the narcissistic behavior whenever possible. You need to build a case. Research the defamation laws in your state. If necessary, enlist the help of a lawyer who's familiar with high conflict personalities. Create a healthy support network which encourages you during difficult times. Ideally, one that includes a trauma informed therapist who understands personality disorders. This support network should be made out of people that are trustworthy and have your back, not those who enable or support the narcissist. You do not want to be further gaslighted, invalidated, or re traumatized while encountering a smear campaign. Number two, creating dependency through intermittently reinforcements and love bombing. Okay, so this one's kind of different, but that was just a smear campaign portion. Let's look at the next one. So this is WikiHow article. Okay, let's read what WikiHow has to say. I mean, lots of people get advice from WikiHow. How to spot and survive a narcissistic smear campaign. Overcome narcissistic abuse with our expert back guides by Fernando Campos, which is going to be very suspicious. What is a narcissistic smear campaign? Signs of a smear campaign, dealing with a smear campaign. Why do narcissistic sociopaths use a smear campaign? A smear campaign is a tactic narcissists use to ruin another person's reputation. These manipulative attacks can be really devaluing and alienating to whoever is a narcissist who has their sights set on. So it's important to recognize when you're experiencing one. If you're going through a narcissistic smear campaign, we're here to support you through it. Keep reading and learn more about what a smear campaign is, what signs to look for, and how to navigate conversations, restore your reputation. Things that you should know. A smear campaign is when a narcissist persistently spread lies or rumors about another person and damage their reputation. A narcissist repeatedly speaking poorly of you, bullying you online, turning friends against you are signs of a smear campaign. Avoid discussing any lies or rumors a narcissist spread about you. Keep acting calm and kind so people can see who you really are rather than believing the narcissist. So, what is a narcissistic smear campaign? A smear campaign is a manipulation tactic to tarnish a person's reputation. A narcissistic is upset or feeling insecure, like at the end of a relationship, they try to humiliate the person that made them feel that way. During a smear campaign, a narcissist, I mean, if they were not a narcissist, they would not act that way, would they? During a smear campaign, a narcissist may speak of you poorly or spread rumors to turn others against you and to make themselves feel superior. A narcissist may also be using a smear campaign to distract others from their own behavior. For example, let's say, for example, I'm not a smear campaign, but let's say if I was, maybe their own behavior is that all the mistakes that they have made, maybe they have not actually shown up and done any sort of homework assignments, but they just do it anyways. They just want to smear your name. you know? Maybe they're actually to be blamed for everything, but they just don't want to take accountability because for their massive ego, they cannot believe other students are getting late. I don't want to defend myself because it's like a shit test. If I defend myself, people get turned off. If I don't defend myself or I go on the attack, then people is going to blame me. So I'm not going to defend. I'm not going to attack. I'm just going to talk about smear campaigns. See that? They all disappeared over that. Narcissistic smear campaigns can happen in any type of relationship or settings. A narcissist family member may be talking poorly about you to hide their own dysfunctions at home. When a narcissistic coworkers may talk to your boss about you behind your back, you feel like you're competition. Section 2 of 4. Signs of a smear campaign. They spread rumors or false accusations about you. During a smear campaign, a narcissist will exaggerate the truth about your interactions to make it seem like you are causing issues, which I'm not. They may tell blatant lies about you and as a way to control over that situation. Narcissists may tell these lies in person to spread them over social media. A narcissist ex may accuse you of cheating on them and make it seem like you were the reason for a breakup. An old boss turning narcissistic smear campaign may spread rumors about your poor work performance, preventing you from getting another position. They persistently badmouth you. When a narcissist has their sights set on you for their smear campaign, it'll be their main focus during a conversation. Even if other people disagree, if they're given the opportunity, they'll continue attacking what makes you feel like the most vulnerable or telling stories about all the bad things that you have done to them. They may also play the victim, and it seems like you're the person causing the problems. So let me double check something. All right, let's continue. Who's laughing right now? Is this like the hater? Good for you, right? Trying to destroy my reputation, right? And you're laughing. It's like you're so happy, right? Well, listen, not everyone's that dumb. Not everyone's that dumb. Some people may actually recognize that I'm a good person and I get people laid, and you ran away in 14 days and blamed it on me because you're a narcissist. All right, let's continue this article. So, if you made a narcissistic friend feel ashamed, they may go on a smear campaign and may share secrets you told them in confidence. Narcissists or narcissistic sociopaths may say something like, I don't want to cause any trouble, but I'm really concerned about John's anger issues towards me. Even though it may sound like a concern, it still may change how the person's hearing and views you. So they try turning other people against you. A narcissistic sociopath that feels threatened by you will try damaging your reputation behind your back by reaching out to your friends, family, coworkers, or anyone in your social circle. They'll tell lies or bad talk you to draw attention to themselves and make others side with them. Well, is that what they do? Yeah, keep laughing. I don't care. So a narcissistic partner may tell your friends that you don't actually like them, so you spend less time with them. A narcissistic sociopath coworker may lie about your boss, so they overlook you for promotion. That's what they want. They project their behaviors onto you. Even if you call out narcissists out on their behavior, they may try turning it on you and play the victim instead. They may shift the blame and say that you're the one who's making things up or gaslighting others to believe your side of the story. The narcissistic sociopath is either afraid of the story, or the narcissist is either afraid of being caught in a lie or having someone see through their narcissistic sociopath facade. They'll redirect their attention on your behaviors instead. So a narcissistic sociopath partner may say that you are the one causing relationship issues if you're bringing up a behavior you want them to change. So if a narcissistic sociopath parent doesn't reach out to you, they may say that they're still caring and that you are the problem for not contacting them on your own. So section 3 of 4, dealing with the smear campaign. Avoid engaging in conversations. Rather than letting a narcissistic sociopath push your buttons, do your best to ignore what they are saying and move on. If you can, go to no contact with a narcissistic sociopath so you limit any conversations with them. If you do have to talk to them, establish your boundaries for what you're comfortable talking about and what topics you may want to avoid. You may say it hurts when you spread rumors like that and will not engage in the conversation if this is what we're going to discuss right now. No, that's not going to hurt them. They're just going to laugh because that's how narcissistic sociopaths are like. So, let's see how many people is here. Let me continue reading. Common narcissistic responses to no contact may include ignoring the boundaries you set, getting angry, or trying to convince you that they've changed. Stay strong and continue maintaining your boundaries, and the narcissist will move on when they realize that they don't have the control over you anymore. Limit your emotional responses. If you lash out and get upset by what narcissists say during a smear campaign, it may make you seem like you're overly emotional and make the narcissist claim more believable. When you do have to talk on the subject, use gray rock method by maintaining a neutral expression and calm demeanor to show that you're not bothered. Move on to the next subject to help redirect your attention. If someone says something that makes you upset, just say something simple like, I'd like to talk about something else. So resist getting defensive about all the narcissistic claims. I think I made a mistake like that before. That's kind of stupid. So rather than getting upset and defensive when you hear a narcissist smear campaign, pick your battles with what you want to address and what you not want to. While you may want to defend yourself on bold claims that affect your livelihood, yet comments go about things that are difficult to disprove, the narcissist is only trying to get control over your emotions and try to disprove them may make it seem like you're acting unstable. Even if you're not in the wrong, avoid feeling the need to try to proving it to everybody. People who are closest to the narcissist may not shift their perspective regardless of the evidence. Prioritize your own happiness. Instead of worrying about a narcissistic comment, like a narcissistic sociopath comment, try to move forward and keep on doing things that make you happy. Take a moment to calm down so you can keep pressing forward. Then check in with your emotions and refocus on what makes you feel good and positive when you're riled up by smear campaign. When people see you acting like yourself and not the narcissist described you, they'll recognize the lies that they're being told. Just stay true to yourself, acting authentically and not a narcissist make you out to be. Practice self care and activities. This one comes up a lot. Take a moment for yourself to find activities that make you feel calm, relaxed, and fulfilled. You may try journaling, doing yoga, or practicing meditation to help you recenter and understand your emotions on a deeper level. Keep yourself busy with old and new hobbies that you aren't distracted or brought down by a narcissist smear campaign. Reach out to close friends and family for support. Rather than trying to go through narcissistic smear campaigns on your own, contact friends and families that are still on your side. Try to spend a little bit more time with them and let them know how you can show your support. Be open about what's happening and what you're feeling because your loved ones may offer helpful advice on how they're handling similar situations. Consider seeing a therapist or finding a narcissistic abuse support group in your area. They may be able to give you more targeted advice for recovering from a narcissist. If people knows that you're taking the narcissist side, if people you know are taking the narcissist side during the smear campaign, avoid putting your energy into seeing them. They may believe the narcissist, even if you spend time trying to convince them. It may hurt to lose some friends, but it's better to be around people who believe and support you. So document and report abusive slander behavior. If a narcissist is being really persistent with their smear campaign, keep a log of any messages, text, or posts that bad talks you. If they continue bullying you, block and report their social media accounts so they can't keep spreading lies. If you feel threatened or endangered, then contact law enforcement and let them know. If the narcissist still doesn't let up, look into defamation laws in your state and contact a lawyer to make a legal case. So that's what I'm actually doing. Unfortunately, they don't think I'll do it, but I'm gonna have no choice. So why do narcissists use smear campaigns or narcissistic sociopaths to maintain their control? If a narcissistic sociopath feels like you're pulling away from them, they may start talking poorly about you because they see you as a threat or competition. So I'm not saying I have a smear campaign, but is it possible they're very threatened by my student lay testimonials because they're getting laid? And the other people, you know, they just cannot believe it. Why is it not happening to them? So the smear campaign will help convince others to see that their side before they have a chance to give any details. Next section, to protect their image. Narcissists will be worried about embarrassed or looked down upon. So they do anything they can to look better to others. As a narcissist continues their smear campaign to feel superior over you and make themselves feel better. Next section, to make it seem like they're the victim. Narcissists think they deserve special treatment or attention or treatment so that they may try to flip the script if things aren't going their way, even if they had negative behaviors that impacted your relationship with them. They may shift the blame with a smear campaign to take attention off themselves. So, what's the attention that they want off themselves? That maybe they're just not good as a student. And rather than taking responsibility, they decide to go on the attack. I mean, seriously. I mean, what the hell? Okay, I'm not going to defend myself. Okay, let's continue. So, to achieve goals for themselves, if a narcissist thinks that you're directly competing against them for attention or recognition, they may start speaking poorly of you. Well, maybe they're actually worried that if the other students are getting laid and they're not getting laid, if it's not them, then nobody else should get laid. Maybe that's their mentality, right? It's like, well, if not them, then nobody else gets to train with John. Maybe that's what they're thinking. So if a narcissist thinks that you're directly competing against with them for attention or recognition, they may start speaking poorly of you. The narcissists only care about getting what they want and not who they hurt in the process. Well, they don't have like any remorse, right, or guilt. So they may use you as a scapegoat to get revenge on people who hurts them. So if a sociopath feels like you wronged them, like how did I wrong them? They actually extorted money out of me. The fuck? So how did they hurt me? Like how did I hurt them? There's no refund policy for bad students. I mean, let's say for example, the 3MP student, he's here for a month, but he's a shit student now. What does he get a refund? Or maybe he has to learn how to be a good student. I'm just saying. So if a narcissist feels like you wronged them or embarrassed them, they may use a smear campaign as a form of retaliation. Maybe that's what they're doing. They may just want to make your life miserable by turning people against you so they feel as bad as they do. So if these people cannot get laid for the last few years because the inflation and the tariff is harder, and they want revenge, like if they don't get laid from my coaching and they quit in 14 days, nobody else can get laid from it. Maybe that's a mentality. Who knows? Who knows? But that's what WikiHow says, right? So that's from the WikiHow article. Okay, let's look for some more articles on smear campaigns. Smear campaigns, sociopath, narcissist. Let's see what else we have. Okay, the narcissistic sociopath.net. I can't believe there's actually a website called the narcissist sociopath.net. Narcissistic abuse support. So there's actually all this is real. This whole smear campaign does have people like that. If a sociopath threaten to spread rumors about you, right? Okay, so there's a lot of articles. Let's just pick one, right? Um, the smear campaign. Okay, this is just a okay. This is on Psyche, whatever this site is. It's called the narcissistic smear campaign. Says everything about him or her and nothing about you. Instead of being hurt, be thankful. Let's just see what it has to say about it. Okay, there's only one type of person that smear campaigns: a character disturbed individual. Think about it for a moment. Have you ever thought even once to intentionally humiliate, embarrass, or impact the view of a person's support by contacting them and saying false things about a friend, family member, or beloved one? The answer is no, of course not. Like, who the fuck does that? I have to be a complete sociopath to do something like that. It's because you're not a character disturbed. This behavioral trait is a hallmark of a narcissistic sociopathic personality disorder and sociopath slash psychopaths, but is also seen in other character disturbances. By the time you become aware of the fact that someone you trust or trusted is smearing your name, they have been doing it already for some time. You can only find out about it when they're either no longer cautious or someone tells you, or that person wants you to find out. And that's the hideous game of control and punitive domination. Normal people don't behave this way. It is not normal behavior for an adult to go behind the back of another adult and to contact their supports, family, or friends to tell them that you're crazy or addicted to substances. Why do they do it? They do it because their goal is to destroy your credibility. When you're getting along with them well, not thinking about leaving them, and otherwise providing them with narcissistic supply, they do not try to ruin your name. At first sign of your disagreeing with them, leaving them, or just telling, like, they actually quit here because another student got married and procreate. Now we have another Indian guy who's gonna propose to his girlfriend who's white with my coaching. They're gonna be very angry. But otherwise, you're giving them space. Go straight into your contacts and attempt to damage your credibility. They do this because they fear that what your opinion is of them, and what you may potentially tell people, or how would it look when a person of your character chooses to leave them. It is a straightforward, and when you think back, you will realize that they contacted your friends or your social media or otherwise innocently obtain your contacts, and you have very few of their particulars as well as the duplicitous will lead to deceptive, complicated lives with many sources of supply available to them at all times. Narcissistic sociopaths and some of other characters' disturbances have no integrated ego. When people see this in public, is a mask, a veneer, a facade, and is designed to gain public approval or favor. When you attempt to break away from them or disagree with them, they fear that you are destroying their mask. In order to preserve their mask, which is very important to them, is because they're not integrated and they do not have an authentic self. They attempt to ruin you. Their mask of sanity is so fragile that any discord, disagreement, or lack of support is interpreted in an attempt to shatter their mask. So basically, sociopaths always wears a mask of sanity. That's how they're able to navigate. They pretend to be nice people and stuff, but they'll stab you in the back, the people that wears the mask the most. So the mask is so fragile that any discord, disagreement, or lack of support is interpreted as an attempt to shatter their mask. They spend their lives reconstructing and wearing a flimsy mask in order to hide what's behind it. Noting behind the mask the desire to harm, violate, and control and destroy people. These folks do not view people as people, but as objects to be used to build up and fear as they could break them down, shatter their mask. By the time it comes to your attention that they are smearing your name, it has already been happening for a long time, even if it's subtle. Most often use the contacts you gave them to go straight to the people that you're most likely to be confiding. They attempt to discredit you, call you crazy, or complain that you're an addict or a junkie. So the recipient of the slander will not believe you. So the whole idea is to make sure people are turned off in the very beginning. That seems to be their MO, apparently. Who cares? Anyone who engages with a person who supposedly loves you but is talking trash about you is not worthy of your time or attention. If your contacts wish to be minions, flying monkeys for a person who is trashing your name, you're better off knowing this. They are not they are unworthy of any of your time, energy, or focus or affection. End of discussion. People who love to bring you up will never ever engage any person in a conversation about you behind your back in which you're portrayed as negative light. People who receive negative messages about you and are caught up in the drama are not your friends. And if they're a family, they're not decent and do not need to engage any person who smears your name or is a recipient of a smear campaign is entertains it. Your true friends and people who are worthy of having you in their life will extinguish conversations in which you are subjected to smearing, will call you and tell you immediately. Anything short of that, the person does not have your best interest in mind and is to be feared. There's no other way to explain this than a situation where any person is excused from participating, even if a proxy, in a campaign intended to spread negativity about you. Think about it. If your friend is blah blah blah. Basically, this is gonna be quite a long article. Let's find a few more articles. So this is on LinkedIn, right? By Dr. Lillian Kalbronian, psychiatrist and psychologist by profession. Okay. So let's see what this person has to say about a narcissistic smear campaign. When healthy people feel upset about something, they get angry. But toxic people don't just get mad, they seethe and wage a devious smear campaign. Sorry. One of the clearest indicators that you got a mentally unstable person on your hands is a smear campaign. Smear campaigns carefully and strategically use lies, exaggeration, suspicions, and false accusations to try to destroy their credibility. They hide behind a cloak of understanding and heroism, feign innocent in an attempt to make as many people as possible think their efforts are based not on their vindictiveness, but on their upstanding concern. Well, that sounds very familiar. As a smear person, what you are most likely guilty of is saying no to someone who is in some way failing to respect your boundaries, refusing to follow the same rules as someone who is spreading toxicity and manipulation, someone entitled, someone sneaky and vindictive, someone who is hurting you or talking too much. When standing up for yourself is the right thing to do, toxic people simply don't believe you and have any right to refuse their mistreatment and will set out to punish you for having any opinions that differs from theirs. Virtually all smear campaigns can be counted to having a trait of cluster B personalities disorders, narcissists and sociopaths. Yeah, so this is what it says, cluster B personality. Let me look up what cluster B personality is. Cluster B personality. Well, actually, that sounds a lot like the pickup artist type, right? As the kind of Reddit sociopathic worshippers. Oh, that actually sounds exactly like them. Antisocial, borderline, histrionic, and narcissistic disorder. So it says clutter B personalities, including antisocial, borderline, histrionic, and narcissistic disorders. These disorders are characterized by dramatic, overly emotional, and unpredictable behaviors. Well, it sure sounds exactly like them. Because they have thin skin. Individuals with these disorders may have difficulties with emotional regulation. Yep, sounds exactly like them. And interpersonal relationship. Yep. Treatment options include therapy, and in some cases, medication to manage the symptoms. So there actually is a cluster B personality. I gotta look more into that. Anyways, let's continue the topic. So basically, as this LinkedIn post is saying, that cluster B, virtually all smear campaigns can be counted on to have traits of cluster B personality disorder. Narcissists and sociopaths are among the most virulent smear campaigners, and histrionic and borderline people may also opt to smear those who upset them. Not surprisingly, these four disorders are classified as dramatic and erratic, high conflict personalities. Narcissists can fly into a vindictive, narcissistic, sociopathic rage if questioned instead of receiving compliance with their demands. Sociopaths often have anger management issues and are driven solely by their own wishes without regards for the rights of others or consequences. Histrionic people creates drama and conflict whenever possible, and they require little to no incentive to do so. People with borderline personality disorders have trouble controlling their emotional reactions and may become intensely angered by what others interpret to be a minor matter. Regardless of the reason for smearing, all smear campaigns work virtually the same way, following a very predictive pattern as of the usual dirty tricks and underlining motive. Tomorrow, we'll take a look at the anatomy of a smear campaign. Smear campaign tactics: discredit and isolate the victim, play the victim, or hero lie, exaggerate, manipulate, manufacture, fear label the victim, inferior, hurt the victim for spite. So basically, the difficulty with saying no to toxic people is that they are already hazardous. After all, they wouldn't be toxic if you wouldn't have said no to them in the first place. Most abusers simply want what they want and not be denied without unleashing a torrent of phony martyrdom and vicious slander all about you. Yep. I mean, we're dealing with a real narcissist here. Their story will be warped, slanted, and twisted until there's no one atom of truth left in it. Yep, there's absolutely 0% truth. It's like 99% false. And it doesn't even make any sense. Sometimes I don't understand how am I supposed to defend against something that doesn't even make any sense. It might make sense to the far left people listening to their bullshit, but it doesn't make any sense to me. I don't even know what to defend against or to what to attack because what they say just doesn't make any sense. Like it's so nonsensical. Lies would be sprinkled in to try to make their audience fear, prejudice, and rebuke you for their supposed evil that you perpetrated against this innocent lamb or a vulnerable, well-respected person. You didn't ask for your boundaries to be respected. You are a vicious animal who attacked them. At least that's what they want. And you supposedly attacked others, so everyone needs to be careful of you, or they want to be safe. Everyone should stand up on their behalf. And this good person, which is bullshit, by shutting you out and standing up against your abuse. But if the abuser is the coworker, they will try to get you into trouble or fired. If they are related to you, they will attempt to behave to have you kicked out, or the family to have make you feel left out. You must be marginalized and cut off from the pack so that you be left feeling weak and alone. This is payback for the smear campaign exacts for the fact that you got in their way. I mean, what sort of misfortune do I have for a really bad, unteachable case that has no rationalization at all, who basically is a complete fool, and then they attack me? Like, they have no rationalization. They cannot think properly. They didn't do any homework assignments. They failed everything. But I don't want to attack them back because that would seem like I'm vindictive. But in reality, we're just saying this sounds exactly like a smear campaign. They want you sorry that you were ever born. I mean, what? What did I do except get people laid and married? And what the fuck? And I get them having girlfriends. I've done some good for the world. Give it a thumbs up. I've done a lot of good for this world. They want you sorry that you were ever born and that you know it much will hurt you to be shunned and turned against, and how powerless you'll feel without the assistance of others. The smear campaigner must see it that everyone that they're telling these lies to is to keep sweet, and they'll play the good one. Oh, they're really the good one, right? If they have to do this, I mean, first of all, you can debunk point by point, but what's the point? These people, like, they're appealing to the far left Redditors who have no rationalizations either, who have the same type B personality. And they'll play the good one. They're nice, helpful ones, the innocent ones who will only try to warn people of how secretly evil you are, supposedly you are when nobody's looking. They're doing their coworker, the family, the society, the grand favor by bravely speaking out against my misdeeds, which when there's no misdeeds, and righting a wrong. Bullshit. They cleverly play the friendly, everyday good person who's upstanding, supportive, and likable, just like the people they're trying to reel in, right? And trying to fool. They will never do anything wrong or unlikable. Yeah, right. I mean, honestly, do they have sociopathic eyes? The smear campaigner needs to make their audience think that they're a perfect, innocent person who was shockingly blindsided by your supposedly evil unreasonability, over emotions, or mental instability. Smear campaign goals are to create mistrust of you, fear of you, and to condemn you of if they think that your audience may not swallow the lie that they have done absolutely nothing and contribute to the matter. I mean, my audience who are not far left, right, probably has no idea like what they're talking about, and they don't believe a single thing about this. Yeah, my ex was histrionic. I have all out texts and receipts to clear my name, right? That really sucks, man. That really, really fucking sucks. So whenever you deal with a narcissistic sociopath, right, you're gonna deal with some really, really nasty, nasty people, right? And I did that actually work by having the receipts? Because I have the receipts, I just haven't posted them. I never thought about posting the receipts because I don't want to seem defensive. But if you're saying that works, then maybe I should be posting the receipts, right? So for Frodo Leggins, right? Thank you for telling me that. You know that I'm not the only one that's seeing this. So, anyways, I'll be using the receipts. So if they think that their audience may not swallow the lie that they have done absolutely nothing to contribute to the matter, they may admit that they have done something very minor. They have not admitted to anything. They don't have guilt or remorse. That is your response to it that's outrageously unresponsible or completely incompetent. Popular lies of smear campaigners include statements or an insinuation that you are mentally ill, incompetent, untrustworthy, or unreasonable. Well, that's exactly what they just smear me with again. The smear campaigner does this so that if you legitimately show upset shows, the observer will attribute it to your irrationality, ill intent, or instability, and not to your normal upset and having been badly mistreated. Most people who use smear campaigns have several things in common. The smear campaigner must work to make people believe them. They will put out a good face and agree with their listeners and feign integrity and kindness, carefully tending to his or her image as an innocent and upstanding whistleblower. Well, they're not whistleblowers. Come on now. Who is bravely speaking up against evil and is a necessary part of the smear campaigner's plan. Whether the smear campaigner is claimed to be your victim or just conscientious bystander or both, they know that they're being seen as the good ones and fools most of the people possible. And these, especially dumb type 2 personalities, far left, Reddit type of places. And this is righteousness and brave warrior of truth, not someone who is having a tantrum because you got in their way when they were doing something wrong, which is not following any instructions. This is not cowardly tyrant who is seething with revenge, certainly not as they think. This is just a decent person who is bravely trying to help others, right, by spreading the word to be careful, to avoid a monster and abuser like Johnny Leet. Really? What are you talking about? Nobody knows what you're talking about, right? The only person that would support them was like other Latinos who are tall and doesn't do any homework assignments with type B personality. Ridiculous. So smear campaigners may claim that they don't want to say anything bad about anyone that's not like them, but they just have to say something about you in order to help good people snuff you out of your supposedly evil, but Johnny Lee's evil, right? Because he's a bad person, because he's the worst person in the world, according to them. The worst person who basically, and they lie about the coaching. Oh, yeah, hardly anyone gets laid. It's just a good student. Like, they just make shit up. 60 people. Like, I don't even know how to defend against it because their lies are so big that it just doesn't make any sense. I don't even know how to formulate because I'm not irrational. So basically, people, they want people to snuff out your supposedly evil, and they must break with their usual humble and moral humility in order to step up and save the decent people of the world by finally exposing the truth of Johnny Lee about that nobody has ever known. That's bullshit. I mean, it's like ridiculous. Of course, it's not the truth. It's a smear campaign. But most everybody wants to support a person who has been hurt and someone abusive and will rush to their defense, so that the role of the smear campaigner often plays the good and the innocent victim hero. The smear campaigner plays on the sympathies of others, using people's empathy to gain social leverage against their victims. Most smear campaigners are highly narcissistic, and narcissists cannot ever be expected to apologize, come clean, or admit any wrongdoing. So that's why, even when you're shown the truth, they don't admit it. Even when caught red handed, their lies, they truly believe in their own way that a smear campaign is a right thing to do to Johnny Lee because you have to oppose them. You should have known better than to do such an unthinkable thing. So it's all simply all my fault somehow, and they're smearing me anyhow. They're teaching me a lesson, right? I'm being taught a lesson, whatever the lesson. What's the lesson? Like, I don't understand. Agree with whatever they want, or else you'll ask for it. Like John Lee, you ask for it. They're teaching you better. Smear campaigners are like spoiled playground bullies who kick another child when the teacher is back his turn, just because the child doesn't give them whatever they want. They cannot be made to empathize. They are well practiced in their abusive games because they have been playing them all their lives. So that means this is not the first person that they have done this to. I'm probably just a long line of people they have smear campaigned. So if you should become the subject of a smear campaign, you may find the following practices to be helpful in reducing or eliminating the damage. A summary of important points to remember about the smear campaigns. Smear campaigns are typically conducted against people who have stood up against some form of unfairness, abuse, or entitlement. So basically, how have I stood up? I stood up against unteachable cases, entitlement of these people, bad students, maybe something like that, plus all the lay testimonials. Narcissists are highly active smear campaigners, and those with other high conflict cluster B personality disorders, such as antisocial personality disorder, borderline personality disorder, and histrionic personality disorder. I mean, ASPD is sociopaths, are prone to smearing others. A smear campaign involves lies, exaggerations, and cultivation of mistrust towards the victim. Smear campaigners insinuate that the victim is mentally ill, unreasonable, incompetent, and trustworthy or abusive. They're trying to say that about me. Smear campaigners typically play on the sensibility of others, using people's empathy and moral to turn people against their victims, most often by having done nothing more than disagree with the smear. A smear campaigner prefers to make others think that they are good people who are rightfully standing up against a victim supposed to be immorality or abuse. Smear campaigners will play both the victim, the hero, or both. Oh yeah, they're the hero and Johnny Lee's the victim. It's almost like the best way to think about it is almost like imagine I'm like Jesus, right? I prayed for I prayed that I have permission to say this, but imagine I'm like Jesus, right? I'm teaching people how to get laid and it's very effective. Okay? I'm like Jesus, I'm teaching people how to get laid. But instead, we have a Judas among us who basically did the opposite. And for he got $400, even though there's no refund policy in goodwill payment to not smear campaign me, signing a non-disclosure agreement. I'm not saying anyone smear campaign me. Let's see. Yeah, hell yeah, man. Expose them and let the evidence speak for itself. Okay. JP, what energy are they using to smear to be better used to drills and get results? They're not gonna do it because they will blame me, saying it's too hard because they're thin-skinned. They don't have any focus. They'll crash out and they'll blame me. They actually shot down all the ideas like fools. In the Bible, it talks about fools, how they're unreasonable. You cannot reason with fools. Dropping a like. Oh yeah, JP, instead of focusing on themselves, they want to tear someone else down. Drills take hard work, lying is not, right? Exactly. And Jesus was the first coach. That's right. And also Jesus, he was telling the truth. They still try to crucify him. They're trying to crucify him. Give it a thumbs up, a like. They try to crucify Jesus for 30 pieces of silver. This guy got 400 pieces of USD. And he still smear campaign my name. Like Judas trying to get people to crucify Jesus. What kind of a demon is this? What kind of demon? I bet even Judas has a type B personality. Smear campaigners try to orchestrate their victims and make them feel alone, unpopular, and supported by others. Smear campaigners enjoy the feeling of having gotten back at the victims, right? Like, I got Johnny Leap back. And they believe it's completely justifiable because even if they failed, right, in their homework assignments, to mistreat someone for having an opinion that is different than theirs, right? Their opinions is facts. Smear campaigners do not acknowledge that they're wrong, that they do. That means that he's not going to acknowledge any of the things he's done is wrong. Even if you show proof that everything they say is debunked, because they lack any remorse and guilt, they're still just like they don't have remorse or empathy. Yeah, JP, instead of focusing. Exactly. So they cannot typically be expected to be genuinely confess or apologize even after they've been proven liars. Do not speak to a smear campaigner unless it's completely impossible not to. If you do have to speak to the smear, only do so in the presence of others in copied emails or proper documentations letter. Plan ahead to prevent being put in a difficult position by the smear campaigner. Lastly, okay, this article is great so far. Then remember that you do have the right to make a fair and healthy request. And if you are smeared as a result, smearing is unreasonable and unacceptable response. So that's an excellent article from a psychiatrist. So Dr. Lillian Cabrion. So that's excellent. But you're starting to understand how a smear campaign works, right? These are very, very vicious people that tries to pretend to be like the good person. I've always thought I was a good person, helping other people get laid, getting married, but apparently not. According to them, I'm the devil. Somehow I'm the devil. I don't know how I'm the devil, but I'm the devil now, according to them. But like, doesn't make any fucking sense. I've done nothing but good. I've done nothing but good. I've taught people how to get laid. I have changed their entire lives, but somehow I'm the devil. I'm the worst human being alive. In what way? You just saw an Indian guy. He's going to propose his girlfriend. He's going to procreate. It's like, what the hell? Just because this guy cannot get laid anymore after the inflation and the tariff, he should not take it on me. He didn't do any of the work. But I should not defend myself. I have receipts. Of course I do. Let's look at the next post. Okay. The smear campaign on Pinterest. There's a lot of different posts here. So I can't really read it without like, let me find another article. Okay, Psychology Today, 5 steps to surviving a narcissistic sociopath smear campaign. Mentalhealth.com, signs of a narcissistic sociopath. All right. So, 5 steps to surviving a narcissistic smear campaign. Pick your battles, always know the truth. When ending a relationship with someone who has demonstrated a need for revenge, be prepared to turn, prepare for them to turn on you. Due to the non physical nature of a smear campaign, most protection orders cannot offer much protection. Disengaging and choosing what to defend against would decrease the likelihood of things escalating with a vengeful ex. So, this is not like a relationship, but um, few knows the cruelty and chaos that comes with ending a relationship with someone who is out for revenge, whether it's platonic, romantic, or familial. Those who have been through experience understand all too well that this is one of the most stressful times in your life. Knowing how to react when will be the glue that keeps you together. Following the steps, okay, do not engage. This is essential. After hearing constant stream of lies coming from the mouth of someone who once claimed to care for you, you may feel humiliated. This is more about relationships, right? Should we read this one? It almost sounds like very it sounds very familiar, even if it's from Psychology Today. This is more about relationships. Okay, if we run out of articles, right? Sociopaths in their love, okay, and their smear campaign. I think overall, you guys have a much better idea of what a narcissistic sociopath is. I should post this in the main section too, before post all the receipts of false accusations about me. Any questions so far? Any comments? Because I'm trying to look for articles and they're just not very good ones afterwards. What are some other good coaches you think are really good with more modern strategies? I really want to know your input. You only look at their late testimonials for 2025 and 2024 for day game. Okay. So you try to look for it. If you cannot find a late testimonial, then you don't go with that coach. So it's everyone's based on merit. I have nonstop in 2024 because the inflation is when the highest interest rates happen. It's usually day game is harder when the interest rates are higher. Now that there's a tariff and people are scared, people are losing their minds. So that's another thing. I hope that answers your question. If nobody has day game late testimonials, all the other coaches, and I'm the only one who has it, then I hope that answers your question too. Any final questions? Because I may end this right now and turn this into a video. Thank you for being here. Give it a like that you learn a lot, right? Am I going through a smear campaign? Who knows, right? But if I am, then this is a great article. All right, I think that's all for today then. That's all I can do. I want to read articles all day, but there's no more articles. Maybe I can find some from Bing or something. Let me try and Bing. Smear campaign. I'm not sure if I read some of these already. We definitely read some of these articles. How to deal with the narcissist smear campaign, Psych Central. I'm not sure if I read it. Manage the smear campaign often leads to increased distress and emotional dysregulation, often part of the narcissist intent. Narcissists want to create imbalance in others. They will do so by any means. Dunkhill adds that smear campaigns may come off and end. It seems like the narcissist attacks are ineffective. Here are some ways to deal with a narcissist smear campaign. Maintain your integrity. Don't retaliate with similar tactics. This can escalate the situation. Disengage when completely disengagement with a narcissist may not always be possible. It's best to keep communications to a minimum. Using a gray lock method of communications where you don't show emotions or act indifferent. You could hire a lawyer to communicate for you, which could help you create boundaries and prevent escalation. Document if necessary, keep records of all your interactions with the narcissist to help refute their false claims. You may want to communicate only in small text or with a third party present. Seek support, build a support network of people. Understand the situation and offer emotional professional support. Severe cases, legal advice may be necessary to protect your reputation and well being, protect your physical and mental health, right? So, next article. This is from Simple Psychology. I'm not sure if I read it, but let's read it anyways. A narcissist individual will do anything to keep their facade intact, including launching a smear campaign against you. A narcissist smear campaign is a deliberate, calculated effort by narcissists to tarnish someone else's reputation and credibility or character. Essentially, it's manipulative tactic used to maintain the narcissist's own image, discrediting under. I think I read this one before. The site looks very familiar. Mindset therapy. Okay. Um, Ever felt you're pulling away from you and you had no idea why, and you dealt with a narcissist? Chance you've been caught in a smear campaign. Let's break it down how it works, how to protect yourself today. Today, you'll learn how to respond to a smear campaign tactics from a narcissistic sociopath. The narcissistic sociopath has a fragile ego and unstable sense of self. What that means is a narcissist is overly sensitive to any criticism. Yep, of course, because they feel targeted and think people are out to get them for being unteachable cases. The facade of being competent and superior is a mask that they wear that will slip off anytime in view of a threat to their environment. And to the narcissist, anything can be considered a threat. The narcissist has numerous tools and toolbox of control and manipulation. One of their favorite tools is a narcissistic smear campaign. A smear campaign is a manipulative tactic used to discredit you, isolate you socially. The narcissist will use the smear campaign when they need the support of others, not only to put you down, but also to build themselves up. The smear campaign is how narcissists manipulate others to turn against you. The narcissist will use a smear campaign to play the victim, control the narrative, and will destroy your credibility before you expose them. Okay, so they're trying to destroy it before I can even expose them and turn people off. Okay. Well, what's the goal of the smear campaign? To keep the focus off of them and onto you. During the smear campaign, the narcissist would tell others how you have wronged them and then play the victim being targeted by you when they are the actual ones doing the targeting, which is true. They can be the victim and destroy your credibility through their control of their narrative. They tell people what they want to hear, and this is usually not based in facts. The narcissist wants to destroy your credibility and paint you as a crazy one before they can expose you before they can be exposed as a fraud, which will happen. They'll tell others that you're unstable, abusive, or crazy. The narcissist is always creating a world in which they can continue to see themselves as superior and better than anyone else. However, for this carefully crafted script, they need to create roles for players in their script. And the most important character is the flying monkey. So, what's a flying monkey? The flying monkey are people recruited by the narcissist to carry out the smear campaign against another person. I think flying monkey is a Wizard of Oz term, right? They actually make flying monkeys like to spread rumors. Narcissists are masters at their game of control and manipulation, and they can easily bring people into their world to work against someone they are targeting. Whether they can get someone else to do the dirty work for them, their hands remain clean, and they can continue to gaslight by trying to convince their partners or others that they are not the problem. The narcissist flying monkeys are an extension of themselves. So, like Reddit threads and stuff, right? They're trying to create flying monkeys. So, and the narcissist will use a smear campaign through the use of lies mixed with half truth, triangulation, and trying to get sympathy from others by playing the victim. And the smear campaign is meant to be devious and manipulative. They will smear your name behind your back and while smiling to your face and acting as if they're doing nothing wrong. The smear campaign is meant to make you feel confused and defensive. You wonder why people are turning against you. getting turned off or saying things about you. People you thought were trusted are now distancing themselves from you. This becomes isolating. You may become defensive when you confront the narcissist about your concerns, but this defensiveness is turned against you and used as proof that you are the crazy one when you are appropriately reacting to the setup that you've been placed in. The smear campaign is meant to damage you and is intact what the narcissist's fragile ego is being targeted. They must make it about you so they don't have to see themselves as the problem, as the risk narcissistic collapse, knowing that how to deal with a narcissistic smear campaign and how to protect yourself can help you avoid inadvertently contributing to the smear campaign against you. Knowing how to handle a smear campaign against you can protect you from further narcissistic abuse. Don't chase people who believe the narcissist lies. The narcissist carefully chosen their flying monkeys. And if the flying monkey is believing the narcissist lies, there's little you can do to convince them otherwise. There are other narcissists who try to recruit, but they just didn't fall under the trap of the narcissist's control. So they didn't become a flying monkey. Try to surround yourself with people who are see your characters clearly and let time reveal the truth. With everything with a narcissist, their facade will eventually come crashing down and they'll be exposed despite their best efforts. Understanding your strengths, threatening their control, this is why they do the smear campaign in the first place. So, anyways, that's another article. Okay, it's having very similar articles on Bing. How I expose the narcissist smear campaign. Okay, this is something I want to hear. So it's just a random guy making a blog post, but let's hear what he has to say. Smear campaigns are some of the most horrible things that narcissists do. The extent of the means, methods, and lengths that narcissists will go to lie about and turn people against you is chilling. I know that it's a very likely that you, like me, know how devastating it is to have the people who used to support you turn against you. And more you try to expose the truth, the more people don't believe you. So when this happened to me, having family, friends, and colleagues expose my son's side with my narcissist, I was traumatized. I thought I was going to die. I had no idea how I was going to ever win back my life and keep people back, but I did. And that's what I'm going to do today. Thrivers TV episode is all about. Today, I was able to finally beat a narcissist smear campaign and emerge not only to exonerate, but renewed and forever free from the fear of being smeared again. So if you've been smeared and taken down and apart by narcissist lies, then the truth in this video will be invaluable to you. So video transcript. One thing you need to know about the narcissist is that they smear you virtually in every case. Why? Because it's unthinkable that narcissists would take responsibility for poor behavior and self-reflect and do something about it. The false self is beyond reproach. Therefore, if you must someone else, be someone else's fault. So he has a lot of faults. If they're smear campaigning me, they're just not good students, unteachable cases. Maybe that's what makes them upset. But it's someone else's fault if you have been in a toxic relationship with a narcissist, according to him, it's yours. Why narcissists use smear campaigns? How a narcissist appears to other people is everything. When there is no true self available to know self and the whole within the self, all supply is required from others. Therefore, so they're saying that they're just a mask and nothing's underneath it. They're just a bunch of death stare sociopathic people who are narcissistic without any sort of personality. So they use others for it. So therefore, it's unthinkable to the narcissist to be exposed for being pathological, defective, or wrong. If people were to disown the narcissist and turn away in droves, this means that narcissists can no longer extract narcissistic supply, attention, and acclaim, or stuff from the people. So narcissistic supply means a narcissist will need some way to pump their state, right? To make themselves feel better. So for them, this is probably their narcissistic supply. In the black and white world of dogs eat dogs, in which a narcissist's ego is firmly entrenched in, this means that he or she to be right, someone else must be wrong. That means Johnny Lee is wrong about everything. He has to be right about everything. But he did not get laid here. He quit in 14 days. So how am I wrong? The other student that you saw in the testimonial, he's going to propose to his white girlfriend. The narcissist also believes that the best defense to their potential exposure is to crucify you publicly first. Okay, so he believes that I'm gonna like expose him eventually for his defunctions and not functioning properly in his dysfunctions. So he wants to attack me first before I do it. Okay, interesting. This happened to me with a narcissist number one horrifically, as I know it has happened to many of you. My smear campaigning experience. This is what today's TV Thriver TV episode is all about. My personal story, how I got caught up so terribly in the smearing, how I fed it, and how it got even more lined up. And then eventually I found the exact keys to break free from him and smearing and reverse his effect. The problem is my narcissistic marriage was numerous, with the most obvious being in the intense jealousy and possessiveness. According to the ex-narcissist, I was constantly on the lookout for an affair. I probably was having and probably having one and was never to be trusted. Those of you who have experienced this know that devastating is to have your eyes for one person and nothing you can do will ever make them feel secure. This is what the woman says, his extreme jealousy and control were pathological, malicious, and dangerous. It was breaking me, yet so many people never saw the insane and violent outbursts behind closed doors. To them, he was a charming and intelligent and lovely. What the hell? Sounds like a sociopath wearing a mask. So what people also saw was my steady disintegration. I was losing my mind in this show. One night, overheard him on the phone talking to a family member about my irrational behavior and how I was a terrible psychological issues. I have found out that he told one of them, his workmates, that I was ridiculously possessive and controlling of him. These people are really like fucking crazy. When I would confront him, he told me that I heard things wrongly and that's not what he said at all, which of course made me feel like I was losing my mind. And even more, at this point in the game, had no idea about people can make up stories about other people in such a convincing way. Hey, I mean, people make up convincing stories that make no fucking sense to me. So I don't even know how to defend against it because it doesn't make enough sense for me to defend. I don't know exactly what is truthful or what is a half truth to defend against. I don't know. So I'm not going to. And little did I know, because he was a narcissist, he believed his own lies, and the marriage fell apart more. And I was trying to get away from his emotional, mental, physical violence. I started to realize that he was dismantling my support structure. So they all automatically do that. All the sociopaths, the first thing they do when they have a smear campaign is to try to break down your social support system. If that's happening to me, I'm not saying that's happening to me, but if that happening to me, then you guys will at least know about it because of this video. My parents were seriously questioning my fidelity. Even my son started to side with the narcissist. Friends, including previous best friend, colleague, accountants, who have been lifelong family friends, were all deserting me. Okay, so why are narcissists so believable? So there's the thing: narcissists have no conscience or boundaries. They are capable of saying literally anything. Well, that's true. That's true to people to get them on their side. This is what normal adults think when hearing the narcissist lies. Someone who looks me in the eye and tells me this is terrible information wouldn't make something up like this. It must be true. And the narcissists are so convincing when they do it, they know how to manipulate people and have them eating out of their hands, which is true. It seems completely true, which is ridiculous. So let me see. Yep, the guy's still smearing me. So that's the thing. Narcissists, unlike triggered victims who don't get people's belief and support, be this is a okay. So I'm just skimming through this article. It's very long. I love dear friend of mine who works in domestic violence told me recently that police are starting to be educated regarding sociopaths when they are on a domestic call out. The partner who alleges his partner has lost their. Why fighting back did not work? That's what happened to me. The sicker I got, the more I was smeared. The more I was smeared, the more I lost the plot trying to prove my innocence to people who were siding with the narcissist. My entire life and support structure were all crumbling around me, including certain people. I thought they would never desert me. They did. I never realized that quantum law at this stage, that energetic truth of so-called within, so without, rather than enmesh heavily in the deep, terrible trauma of the terror of what people thought of me, the injustice of lies, the narcissist's lack of accountability, the unfairness of all, the horrific lack of support for my people. If we were to rate the level of my trauma of these things, it was intense, much like 100 out of 10, rather than just 10 on the scale. How could my life be so unfair and cruel that what I've suffered as a victim? I didn't realize that the life was always okay. Let's see, is there any solutions? How I defeated narcissist smear campaign. I'm just skimming down. This is quite long. I believe that I was truly blessed by the narcissist smear campaign for the following reason. I lost everything and everyone, and there would. So is that the goal, to make me lose everything, all the money, all the potential students? And there was only one place left to turn inward to myself. Before that time in my life, I've always been positioned my life as a codependent. My feelings and state rely on the other people and the situations to do in my life because I didn't yet discovered how to create my own feelings, states, and realities despite what other people are doing or aren't doing. When I did turn inside to heal because there were nothing and no one left on the outside and nowhere else to turn, a miraculous thing happened. I had an epiphany in my bathroom floor. I realized that all of the stuff hasn't been happening to me. It has been happening for me. The narcissist being a catalyst, soul contact in my life brought forth the painful and vital evidence regarding how I have been the whole within myself. When I started healing the terrible traumas, this is not helpful. This is just coping. This is a waste of article. Next one. So this is yeah. First, let me look at Reddit thread. Okay, it's deleted by user. I'm losing my voice. There's only so many articles, right, about this, but we have read through a lot of them. Let's look at Wikipedia as the last article. Okay. I think this one will be a good one. Then you have an understanding because Wikipedia at least has a lot of sources and citations. All right. What's a smear campaign? So a smear campaign is also okay. This is Wikipedia. A smear campaign is also referred to as smear tactic or simply a smear. Is the effort to damage or call in question someone's reputation by propounding negative propaganda. It makes use of discrediting tactics. It can be applied to individuals or groups. Common targets are public officials, politicians, head of state, political candidates, activists, celebrities, especially those who are involved in politics, and ex-spouses. The term applies in other contexts, such as workplace. The term smear campaign became popular around the year 1936. So, definition: a smear campaign is an intentional, premeditated effort to undermine an individual or group reputation, credibility, and character, like negative campaigning. Most often, smear campaign targets government officials, politicians, I'm losing my voice, and political candidates and other public figures. However, public relation campaigns might also employ smear tactics in the course of managing an individual or institutionalized brand to target competitors and potential threats. Discrediting tactics are used to discourage people from believing in the figure or supporting their cause, such as the use of damaging quotations. Smear tactics are different from normal discourse or debate as they do not bear upon the issues or arguments in question. A smear is a simple attempt to malign a group or individual with the aim of undermining their credibility. Smears or often consist of ad hominem attacks in the form of unverifiable rumors, which is happening to me. So it's more of a smear than a smear campaign, and distortions, half truth, or even outright lies. Smear campaigns are often propagated by gossip magazines. Even when the facts behind the smear campaign are demonstrated to be a lack of proper foundation, the tactic is often effective because the target's reputation is tarnished before the truth is known. So they're trying to say that for all the damage they have caused, they think people will not listen to what I have to say. I'll just keep posting testimonials. It speaks for itself for my student results. Anyways, as I was saying, smear campaigns can also be used to campaign tactics associated with tabloids journalism, which is a type of journalism that presents a well-researched and news instead of the eye-catching headlines, scandal mongering, and sensationalism. For example, Gary Hart's 1988 presidential campaign, see below, the New York Post reported on its front page, back block letters, Gary, I'm no womanizer. Smears are also effective in diverting attention away from the matter in question and onto a specific individual or group, which is unteachable cases. The target of smear typically must focus on correcting the false information rather than on the original issue. Deflection has been described as a wrap up smear. You make up something, then you have the press write about it, and then you say everybody is writing about this charge. So in court cases, in U.S. judicial system, discrediting tactics called witness impeachments are the approval method for attacking the credibility of any witnesses in court, including a plaintiff defendant in cases of whether it's not this is not that important. Right? So this would just be like a diversion. So these are just a bunch of examples. I'm losing my voice. But that's all they have for the smear campaigns on Wikipedia. But yeah, this is a smear campaign. So to long story short, it seems like the biggest tactic is to try to turn people off with lies about me. I'm not saying I'm smeared, but if I was, they'll try to turn off everyone using lies with so many lies as humanly possible. And then when they do that, they try to turn everyone against you and get turned off. So that way, when you expose them, by the time you do expose them, it's already too late. They already gotten away with it. And that's their whole game plan, is to try to smear people on a massive scale. That's probably why a hater, I'm not saying he's using Reddit to smear campaign, but that's exactly what they're doing. It's kind of stupid. And it's all lies. As you can see with all these articles, they always say that every single one of these smear campaigns are 100% lies. They don't feel remorse. They don't feel empathy. And the more you try to fight back against it, which I did, it actually turned people off against me. So I took out those videos from my YouTube channel. Because if people are getting turned off, and I'm making a 5-day challenge talking about people smear campaigning me and people get turned off, then maybe I should not do that. I should just show the receipts of them smearing me, of actually all the screenshots. That's what I'm going to do next. I'll post this one in the video section and I'll post all of them, all the screenshots to clear my name, that these are all lies. And when you guys see it, you guys will open up your mind. Let the stupid people from Reddit or whatever, let them get fooled. Let them get fooled. But for everybody else who are not fooled, who have seen me for all these years do good in the world, like Jesus getting attacked by Judas. You know, don't be stupid. Do not try to crucify Jesus when he's done nothing wrong. Anyways, that's all for today. So I'm going to turn this into a video, and I might come back in the future for this section. Do not fall for smear campaigns. Anyone could fall for this stuff. Do not fall for it. Anyways,